It started subtly, a low hum beneath my skin, like a phone vibrating on a distant table. I'd pat my pockets, check my phone, and find nothing. Then came the itch, a deep, burrowing sensation that no amount of scratching could reach. It wasn't on my skin, but in it, or maybe even deeper, somewhere in the muscle and bone. I tried to ignore it, chalking it up to stress or a weird allergic reaction. But the hum grew louder, the itch more insistent. One morning, standing in front of the bathroom mirror, I saw it for the first time. The veins on my forearms weren't just blue. They seemed to pulse with a faint, pale light. I blinked, splashing my face with cold water, thinking my eyes were playing tricks on me. But the light was still there, a soft, bioluminescent glow tracing a map under my skin. I ran my fingers over them, half expecting to feel heat, but my skin was cold, clammy. The hum was there too, a constant thrumming that seemed to originate from my very core. Sleep became a luxury. I'd jolt awake to the sound of popping and cracking, like someone twisting bubble wrap inside my joints. My limbs would be in positions. I didn't remember putting them in an arm bent, at an impossible angle, a leg twisted beneath me. I'd have to manually, painfully, straighten them out, the sound of grating bone echoing in the silent room. The pain was secondary to the fear. My own body was becoming a foreign country, and I was losing my passport. My reflection became my enemy. It started with small discrepancies. I'd smile, but my reflection's smile would be a fraction of a second too slow, a little too wide. I'd turn my head, and for a terrifying moment, the face in the mirror would hold its gaze on me before mimicking the movement. I stopped looking. I covered the bathroom mirror with a towel, avoided shop windows, and stared at my feet when I walked. But I could still feel the changes. My fingers felt longer, thinner. My posture started to stoop, my spine curving as if accommodating something new growing along it. The humming became a constant companion, a low-frequency vibration that rattled my teeth and made my vision swim. The glowing veins were no longer faint. They were vivid networks of light, pulsing in rhythm with the hum, not my heartbeat. At night, they cast eerie patterns on the ceiling. I could feel things shifting inside me, organs rearranging themselves, bones elongating and then contracting. The cracking sounds were louder now, sharp and definitive, like branches snapping in a storm. One day at work, my pen slipped from my grasp. As I bent to pick it up, my fingers contorted, joints popping backward with a sickening crunch. They moved with a life of their own, scuttling like spiders on the carpet before I could force them back into a vaguely human shape. My colleague saw it. The look on his face, pure, unadulterated horror, was worse than any mirror. I ran. I just ran out of the building, not knowing where I was going, my legs moving with an unnatural, jerky gait that ate up the pavement with frightening speed. I hid myself away in my apartment, the curtains drawn, the silence broken only by the hum and the wet, tearing sounds of my own body rebelling. The itch was now a constant, agonizing fire. My skin felt too tight, a prison I was desperate to escape. It began to split, first in small fissures around my knuckles and elbows, weeping a clear, viscous fluid. Then the tears grew longer, deeper. I watched in detached horror as a long tear opened up on my forearm, and beneath the skin, I saw not muscle and blood, but a shimmering, crystalline structure, pulsing with that same pale light. My movements were no longer my own. My body would fold and unfold itself, limbs stretching to grotesque lengths before snapping back. I'd find myself crammed into corners of the room, my body contorted into a shape that shouldn't be possible, feeling a strange sense of comfort in the tight space. The human part of my mind was a terrified passenger in a runaway vehicle, screaming into a void that didn't listen. The hunger came next, not for food, but for something else. I'd stare at the bare walls, the wooden furniture, with a ravenous craving. I gnawed on the leg of a chair, my teeth cracking against the varnish, splinters digging into my gums. The pain was irrelevant. The need to consume, to integrate, was everything. My teeth were changing, sharpening to points. Tonight, the humming reached a crescendo. The light from my veins filled the room, casting long, dancing shadows. My skin is peeling away in large, wet sheets, revealing the shimmering geometric lattice beneath. The cracking is constant, a symphony of reconstruction. I can feel my bones dissolving and reforming, my organs merging into a single pulsating mass at my center. I stumbled toward the one uncovered reflective surface I had left the dark screen of my television. I had to see. I had to know what I was becoming. I braced myself, my newly formed limbs clicking against the floor. I stared into the black glass. But it wasn't a monster that stared back. It was a person. A perfectly normal, terrified person, their face pale, eyes wide with fear, trapped behind the screen. And as I looked at them, my new, multifaceted eyes blinking in sequence, I realized the horrifying truth. I wasn't the one transforming. I was the one breaking out. My whole life, I was the thing growing inside, the parasite in the shell. The body I shed on the floor wasn't mine. It was my cocoon. And the frightened face trapped in the reflection, the consciousness screaming inside this apartment, that was the host. I am finally free, and I am so hungry. Thanks for listening. If this story chilled you, be sure to follow for more.